Hi, my name's Angela Casey and welcome to Edinburgh Outdoors, the podcast that explores Edinburgh's green spaces and the people in them. So for today's podcast, I went out to Kinneil Estate, which is in Bowness, just outside Edinburgh, and is an old estate which includes a pretty grand house, some lovely woods, some Roman remains, which I'm interested in, and I had a chat with Adrian Mahoney. We started out in drizzle and we ended up in sunshine. So welcome to Edinburgh Outdoors, Adrian.
Thank you very much, and it's lovely to be in Kinneil Estate. It's a beautiful parkland and really accessible for people in Edinburgh. You can obviously walk here or cycle here along the John Muir Way, so the John Muir Way goes right from Edinburgh right along the Forth and then comes up to Kinneil and across the Linlithgow Bridge, and obviously good public transport links. There's buses and obviously trains to nearby Linlithgow, so you can come out here and have a little visit and discover all this wonderful history here.
Sorry, but I always think of Bowness as the railway, because I used to bring my kids out here, and I think a lot of people do that. But actually there's a lot more to discover when you're out here, isn't there? I
suppose the railway's the imported history, because you had the railway line was going to the pit, which is just beyond the site here at Kinneil Estate, and the pit closed in the early 1980s, but the railway's bits of railway stuff from all over Scotland that's been brought here to Bowness, and it is very, very popular. There's lots of great things, and people know the word Bowness and Kinneil Railway, and so they come and visit the railway. But I would say to people who come to the railway, go and have a wander around Bowness. The town centre is really interesting. There's a wonderful old cinema called the Hippodrome, which is the oldest purpose-built cinema in Scotland. Ooh. And then you have this wonderful place, Kinneil, and this was the home of the Hamilton family who owned the pits in the town. And this was their kind of weekend home. Their main place of residence was Hamilton Palace, which is now no longer there and is covered by a retail park in Hamilton. So if you go to try and find Hamilton Palace, you won't find it. But at its time, it was seen as Scotland's answer to Buckingham Palace, and the Hamiltons are one step away from royalty and that kind of connection with royalty. And Kinneil was described by one historian as a retreat of kings, and of course we're just across the hill from Linlithgow Palace.
So tell me, because we all see signs on the road to Bowness, and I bet many people don't know, why does it have an apostrophe in the middle?
It has an apostrophe because that's not the town's proper name. The proper name is Boriston. So at the top of the town there was a village called Boriston, and of course in lots of Scottish place names you get like a place like Inverness. It means a point of land. So village of Boriston, and then the Ness is the point going out into the Forth, and so that's Boriston, and so they've shortened it to just Bowness.
Well, I can see why.
But I think we must be the only place in the UK that has an apostrophe in its name. So you're looking at Kinneil House. The house dates back to 1500s. Originally it was a tower house, so the central section here, big square feudal tower.
Right.
Then it was enlarged with the addition of the palace section. Right. And this bit is significant because it was built by a guy called James Hamilton, the second Earl of Arran, and he was the regent of Scotland when Mary Queen of Scots was a child queen. So he was related to monarchy, and had Mary died as a child, he could have become the king in his own right, but he was regent for 12 years, so quite a considerable amount of time. And on the first floor here is a suite of rooms for James, and at the back is the arbour room, which is wonderful Renaissance wall paintings, and then beside that is an ante-room which has got the parable of the Good Samaritan.
So this is open sometimes, isn't it? You can visit it.
Yeah, so the house used to be open regularly to the public, and then in about 1980s it was closed because of lack of visitor numbers, and then in 2006 there was a threat to the museum, which is the stable block of the house just across there, and it's run by the local authority, and we formed a friends group called Friends of Kinneil, and we'll take people in tours, and so they humoured us and let us work in their building, and they were very, very gracious and kind and let us do a couple each year, and then we got more, and it continued to be really, really successful. The Friends still exist to this day and are still very active doing tours and events in the estate.
But it's now owned by Historic Environment Scotland.
It is. We moved them from being free events that we were running to them having staff on site. Yeah. And they have staff through the summer months, and it currently is only on Saturdays, but that might change in the future. Yeah. And so people people can come here. So most Saturdays in the summer months up till the end of September, you can come and see Kinneil and visit the house and have a tour inside. And also Friends of Kinneil do walks around the estate as well, which are free to take part in. So you can do those on a Saturday and then just go with a local guide around the estate and find out more about its history.
So people can find that on the website, can they?
Yeah, there's a Kinneil website, so kinneil.org.uk. This is round about where the area of the Antonine Wall was, so the Antonine Wall would have come through the walled garden area and then through the estate. And obviously they've got one of these signs that are talking about it being built in the 140s by the Roman army on the orders of Emperor Antoninus Pius, and he was an adopted son of Hadrian. So they built Hadrian's Wall 122 AD, and then new emperor comes along and he thinks, I'm going to expand the empire north, I'm going to build a wall in Scotland and build it of turf on a stone base, and then they stayed for about 20 odd years and then they retreated back to Hadrian's Wall.
For people who are listening who want to find out more about it, a very early podcast I went out to the Antonine Wall at Croy and I met the Rediscovering the Antonine Wall team and we did a tour around Croy. And it was purely because I have a personal fascination, because I lived on it as a child, and so I feel like it belongs to me.
And I think people are really fascinated about when the museum was first threatened with closure in 2006, they were talking about putting the Antonine Wall forward as a UK nomination to become a World Heritage Site, and that was what really upset myself and other people in the community, was we thought they're closing our museum right beside the Antonine Wall at a time the UK is saying to UNESCO, make us a World Heritage Site. It seemed an odd thing to do at the time, and the council backed down and kept the museum open. It's still open now, but there's now a fresh threat to its future and discussions about will the museum be open next year. It's great that we're part of world history here.
Yeah.
So this is James Watt's cottage.
Not a very fancy cottage, is it?
No, it's a workshop. So it's a roofless workshop and it's got a couple of windows, a couple of doors, and that's it. So James Watt was brought here by an industrialist called John Roebuck. So Roebuck heard that he'd been trying to improve the efficiency of steam engines. Watt didn't invent the steam engine, he just made it better. And he brought him to Kinneil and built a workshop. This was 1769. They built this little stone workshop and he worked there away from the prying eyes of Bo'ness, it was said. And there's a source of water at the back, so there's the gill burn at the back. And he built an engine here at Kinneil. Sadly, it wasn't up to scratch, and then Roebuck went bust. So Roebuck had got a 2/3 share in Watt's patent, and he had backed this potential winner, and then he had to sell his share in the patent, and he had a creditor in Birmingham called Matthew Bolton, and so Watt took the engine from Kinneil down to Birmingham, partnered with Matthew Bolton, and the rest is history. And of course,
right, so he succeeded down there where didn't necessarily succeed here. That's a shame.
But the Watt engine went into production, so the engine that was here at Kinneil went into actual use in Birmingham, and I spoke to someone from the University of Birmingham and they were talking about how this was seen as the first working Watt engine. So we'll pass the burn. So behind the house was a village. So you had the village of Kinneil. So you were asking about Bo'ness and Boriston. Before Bo'ness, there was a village called Kinneil, and so on early maps of Scotland, you'll find Kinneil. And there was a little medieval village just to the left of us here. Nothing to see there now. There used to be a tree in the middle, and that tree's long gone. And it said that the Antonine Wall cut through the village site. And one suggestion, if it's true, was that the base of the wall was maybe used as the street, because obviously it was a stone base for the Antonine Wall. So maybe they used that as the village street. I don't know if that...
They did use bits of the wall and the bits of the wall and the forts for other things, didn't they?
Yeah, you've got this little church, so a village site that's no longer there, but the church is still there. And the church was burned down accidentally by troops, but it's probably about 12th century, and they decided to keep part of the church standing as a sea mark. So although this is surrounded by trees now, in its time you'd be able to come up the fort and you'd say, oh, there's Kinneil, because we can see the church. One of the bells from the bell tower lives in Kinneil Museum. We'll see that a bit later. They've also got some modern bits of art as well.
Yeah, what's this?
So this is I think it's called a Sentinel, but it's basically a piece of public art from the Inner Forth Landscape Project, which did projects right around the Inner Forth area, and it echoes some of the buildings, so you can see crow-step gables because there's buildings with crow-step gables. There's also little apertures that look out. They cleared some trees so that you can get a view across the Forth. And the idea also was to show people what the Romans were seeing, because actually you get a real sense of being on high ground, looking across the Forth. And any Caledonian tribe that was having to come across from Fife, they'd have to get across that water, then up the hill, they'd be a bit knackered, and then the Romans would be waiting for them and say, give us the money or we'll kill you, or something like that. So then the Forth Project did lots of different things around the area, and there's a wee interpretation board telling you about that, and it's obviously explaining the Celtic beginnings to the ruined sea mark story of the kirk as well. It was interesting, when it first went up, there were some people didn't like it. It's corten steel, and it's a wee bit different from what else is in the estate.
Yeah,
but,
well, it is different, isn't it?
But it gives you little apertures to look through of different points of the estate.
This is a really nice place to come for a walk, and can you walk far around?
Yeah, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the next bit is the Antonine Wall. So there's a stone that marks the Antonine Wall. It's not Roman, but there's a stone with a plaque on it. It tells you you are at a UNESCO World Heritage Site, just in case you thought, where is it? And I'll point out lumps and bumps on the ground that will kind of give you a bit of an indication. And this particular site, the Antonine Wall, isn't a World Heritage Site in its own right. It's part of the same World Heritage Site as Hadrian's Wall and the Limes in Germany, and the plan is that eventually all the different frontiers right across Europe and into Africa will be part of the same World Heritage Site.
Oh, right.
And the Romans were using similar plans for forts and fortlets across the empire, because people would come from all over the empire to come here in different places. So it's really interesting. It connects us to places right around the world, and that's quite incredible. But it was a great honour for us to get World Heritage status. And if you look out there, you'll see there's a bit of an indication of a ditch, just slightly.
There's a ditch, isn't there?
There's a bit. Obviously, this was a village that was here, so it's been farmed over the years and different things. So it's kind of disappeared. But you can see it goes down a wee bit, and when we get further to the fortlet, we'll see a wee bit more of that indication of the ditch. But if you go to Falkirk, good sections of ditch at Callendar Park, Watling Lodge, and then out at Rough Castle, fantastic bits of ditch. We're going to go this way, across behind a pond. In the late 70s and early 80s, they discovered the fortlet, and we're just about to go and see that. And here we've got a bit of wall. You can see there's a wee bit of ditch.
Yeah,
there's a bit of ditch. Of all the fortlets around the Antonine Wall, this is kind of the best preserved fortlet. So if you want to see a fortlet on the Antonine Wall, Kinneil is a place to come. There's the stone base, you can see the stone base, and the grass cutters have no show. But it is there. You'll feel a bit of stone.
Oh, yeah. Well, there it is, look.
Yeah. So we've had lots of rain recently, so lots of growth of the grass, but if that's clipped a bit more, you see the stone really easily. And what they've done is they've recreated a bit of the mound. Obviously, the wall itself would be about 12 foot high, so a big turf wall and then a ditch in front. And then here, you've got a little bit of Roman road, and it goes into the fortlet site. And then the fortlet itself is marked out, the buildings are marked out by posts. And then obviously there's also slabs that you can see from here, and you can see what it looks like. You can see it on Google Earth, so if you want to fly in on Google Earth, you can see it and you can zoom down. And they've also found more evidence of the Antonine Wall through particular pictures in dry summers, so they would see the ditch more visible at certain times. So they found, for instance, a Roman camp at the other end of Bowness, and it's just a crop mark. It certainly appears in certain summers that you see, so there's nothing there. And you have to think the trees might have not been there 2,000 years ago, but it gives you a wee bit of a sense of history.
It's natural.
It was a reservoir, I think, at one point, and then became a pond. It's got various names, but it's the West Pond Park.
Do a bit of bird watching.
And I think Kinneil's really special in the sense that you're quite near to a town, just beyond the woods here are houses, lots of houses, but you think you're in the middle of the countryside. There's a wee bit of a buzz of industry and stuff, or people, road noise and things like that. But generally it feels quite quiet and quite serene, and you could feel you're in the middle of the countryside. So,
yeah, you could.
And I think the swans and the cygnets will come across to say hello.
They're not exactly cygnets, are they? They're
quite big. They're only born in the end of May, so
right.
So
they've grown quite a lot.
They've grown a lot, and they eat a lot, I think. So
do you come and walk round here sometimes?
I do, and one of the things I would say to people is that as well as you can go on tours with friends of Kinneil and visit Kinneil House, there's also a health walking group that meets a couple of times at Kinneil. called Stepforth, and they come to the estate, and so there's walks right across the Falkirk Council area. So if people are visiting the area and think, I just want to stretch my legs, you can meet local people and go for a walk for an hour.
Yeah.
And it's aimed at getting you healthier, but actually they welcome anybody, and you can just come once and have a little bit of a tour.
Nice.
But I think they're quite respectful because they know that we feed them. So they'll be looking today and say, he's not getting any food.
I'm just listening to the sound. I can hear the birds, I can hear the coots peeping. Really nice. Oh yeah, there's a sort of dam up there, isn't there? So you can see it's a reservoir. It's really...
Yeah. So the estate's about 200 acres.
Yeah.
And a fair bit of it is woodland. So as well as obviously the historical parkland and all the buildings that I've been talking about, you can also just have a walk in the woods and you can pick some brambles, or in the summer you can get raspberries and wild strawberries and things like that. They've also done little frog ponds for newts and things like that. So the lottery gave some money for frogs a few years ago.
I was thinking it would be really nice for people coming here with kids.
Yeah, there's a little...
Take them in and...
There's a little gate, so that's a lottery-funded pond.
A lottery-funded pond. Well, I'm discovering a lot about this that I didn't know.
Yeah.
It's really fantastic.
And I think you were talking about the steam railway, and I would always say to people, don't just put the railway in its own. I suppose the flip side is that the railway, it's always exciting when you get a star coming to town. So I was a councillor in Falkirk for 10 years, and I was standing on election day in 2012 on a polling station, and Nicole Kidman was down the town. So Nicole and Colin Firth were filming The Railway Man, feature film. And Stellan Skarsgård, he hung himself off the railway bridge in Bo'ness for the film.
Yes.
And it was shown in the local cinema at the Hippodrome in Bo'ness. And, you know, it was quite a tense scene where Stellan ended his life. But the only thing you could hear people whispering in the audience, there's the railway bridge. And so people were quite excited. And you get various film shoots here. And we've also had Colin Firth came back to Bo'ness more recently to film the Lockerbie drama for Sky, and the town hall in Bo'ness was used as Lockerbie Town Hall, and they also used the railway as Lockerbie railway station, and of course Outlander made it the railway, and out at Blackness Castle as well. So you get the Outlander fans coming to have a look and see where it is.
So you're quite a keen walker.
Yeah.
Are you?
I had high blood pressure quite a few years ago. And I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, you know, I can give you some tablets. And I thought, I need to just get fit and be more active. And someone in the council, and I say I was a councillor for 10 years, said to me, go and join our walking group at the Helix, and we do 5 miles on a Monday night. And I did that and had a chat to people, and I thought, actually that was pretty easy. He says huffing and puffing going up the hill. But I just thought that was great. And so then I started just doing walking every day. I got a Fitbit. I started really getting into walking, and I've walked the John Muir Way, I've done Hadrian's Wall.
Yeah.
But I like walking where you stop and meet people, and where you go for a cup of tea and a cake.
Right.
So these walkers that say, I did 6 hours solid and didn't stop.
Yeah.
I don't understand them. I like where you get an experience that's a day out, and I'm not into the big Munros or going up massive hills, but things like the John Muir Way, which is a few hills but fairly gentle.
Yes.
Is nice. And Hadrian's Wall more challenging. But again, it wasn't all about hills, it was just a nice walk across the countryside of Northern England.
But there's something nice about a walk also that takes you from A to B.
Yeah.
You know, so whether it's taking us back to pilgrims or thinking about achieving something, there is something really rewarding when you do a walk where you start at one point and end at another.
Yeah, and I think people talk to you on walks. You know, people go to gyms, generally people put their music on and they don't talk to anybody. When you're on a walk, particularly if you're on a trail, most people are quite happy to have a bit of an natter for 5 minutes, and
it's nice.
It's really nice. And the footnote to my story was that I went back to the doctor and my blood pressure went down to normal.
Come on, everyone listening.
So
get out there and walk. This is beautiful, this wood.
Yeah. So it's nice. So this is the John Muir Way, and the John Muir Way comes up from the Lithgow Bridge, then into the woods, and then down past the museum. As well as all the amazing characters we had coming to Kinneil, they had a motor racing event called the Bo'ness Hill Climb.
Yeah.
And it used to come down the road at the bottom of the estate, past Kinneil House and up this hill. And people like Stirling Moss and Jackie Stewart used to come, and then they used to drive the motor cars round the back of Kinneil House, the motor racing legacy of the estate.
Gosh,
so another interesting, very different.
So what does the outdoors mean for you?
I think it means peace and tranquility, a chance to reset my head. Sometimes I think we all kind of have days that we're a bit stressed about something, we're worried about something, and so getting outdoors means that I get a chance to just be at one with nature and just chill and get a bit of exercise, see the birds, feel the rain if it's raining or the wind, and it's incredible, and I think it's lovely. So it resets me, I think that's the best way to describe it, and I think that it's a great thing for your mental health, and as I say, you also get a chance to go to lovely places, you meet interesting people along the way, and I recently went to a net walking event on Hadrian's Wall, which was fantastic. This is a little modern seat, so initially it was a dry stone dyke, and they created a little seat for people to just look at the world. So you can sit here.
Oh, yeah.
And you can think about the Romans being here. And
let's sit here and I'll ask you the other question.
And this is, of course, where the medieval village was. So you can think about the hustle and bustle of Kinneil's medieval village and the people that were here.
So I think you've probably answered the second question already, because we talked about when you'd not been well and you'd gone walking. But the second question I ask people is there a time when the outdoors has helped you in some way?
Yeah, it's helped me kind of connect with other people. It's helped me feel grounded. I live on my own, and so actually when the pandemic hit, it was quite scary, and there was people my age dying. But the first time I did get COVID, it was a couple of years after the pandemic had hit, and it was really worrying, because I thought to myself, I could be stuck at home and I could get seriously ill and who'll take care of me? But you know, in those early days of the pandemic, going out first thing in the morning, going for a walk, you know, just helped ground me and made me feel that there was something normal, and nature was carrying on its business as normal. And you got to hear the birds more because cars weren't going around, people weren't going to work, they were just at home. So that was really, really good. And at times when you were doing a bit of social distancing, you could just go to a woods and you could have lots of space to yourself, and that really kept me sane, and I think that was a positive thing. But I also think that just generally you just go to interesting places, and by walking those places you get to see much more. I'm a big fan of audio guides, and I actually did an audio guide for Kinneil, which you can get on an app called Izzy, and it's called Izzy.travel, and it uses GPS. And
then the third question, and I have to say, a lot of people say the place where we're actually talking, your favourite space in or around Edinburgh.
Right.
And you are allowed to say the place that you're in.
Well, I could say Kinneil, but actually I like lots of bits of Edinburgh as well. I like going to the North Edinburgh Path network, so down from the Portrait Gallery and then heading down to Leith, maybe getting a coffee at Leith, or walking along to Trinity and then back round to Craigleith and Roseburn. So I like that. I like bits of the Water Leith around Edinburgh, and it's really cool. Great. The John Muir Way in the east of Scotland I think is brilliant. So the bits in Edinburgh are lovely, but also out into East Lothian is a really nice day out. And also around Edinburgh, the walk from South Queensferry into Crammond, so through Kinneil Estate. Oh, yeah. So really, really nice
lovely,
walk.
So tell me about the nature reserve, because I've not been in there. That's just nearby, is it?
Yeah, so neighbouring site to Kinneil Estate, you literally go out of the estate and then walk down the hill, and then on the foreshore is the Kinneil Nature Reserve. And it was the site of Kinneil Colliery, so the last pit in the town. It closed in 1983. So the pit's long gone, the last remnants of the buildings are gone, and they've restored the land. So behind the pit site was a big spoil hill, and that's been levelled out into a wee kind of hillock, and it goes down to the Forth. And they planted native Scottish trees, they've planted sea buckthorn, there's brambles, the John Muir Way runs right through the site, and it's a really nice site and popular with dog walkers and go along there. And there's a little pub near there called the Corby Inn. Right,
the nature reserve's definitely worth, because I think, well, we've already walked quite a long way around here, just going up past the church and the artworks and the fortlet and through the woods. So adding on the nature reserve makes it a really nice day out if somebody wants a decent walk.
Yeah, you could do from Kinneil House through the nature reserve along the foreshore towards Blackness, and that's Blackness Castle, and that's about 6 miles each way. So it's a nice walk, a couple of hours each way, and there's a little pub at Blackness as well, so handy if you want to have a little stop and lunch.
This is really nice now because we're sitting here in the sunshine.
It's gorgeous.
Drizzling when I met you, and now it's sunny.
Yeah, I knew that you were coming.
We sat on the bench in the sun, and we've now walked back down past the car park, and we've found ourselves back through the woods and beside Kinneil House again.
Yeah.
Past James Watt, past the community garden, which looks great, and we're going to just go down now and have a look at the museum.
Indeed.
And although it's inside, we're going to allow ourselves to go in. So we're now going into the museum. Hi. Hello. Nice to meet you.
So this was established mid-1970s. So it was the first museum in the Falkirk Council area.
Yeah.
And this map here, you've got a 3D model of the estate, so you can see exactly where you are, the house and the museum here, and then going along to the fortlet. So it kind of helps you plot things out. A bit of wildlife, and then a bit of a Roman altar. Bits of Roman shoes. So they found those at Kinneil, and Historic Scotland actually did a project a few years ago, and they did a 3D remodelling of the shoes. The church and the bell, which I mentioned out at the site. So this is one of the bells from the church. And James Watt in his banknote. And some pictures from inside Kinneil House showing the lovely paintings and incredible history here.
Yeah, this is a great little resource for people to come in. They go and find out about it and then come in and see it. But you're saying it's under threat? Yeah.
So in 2006, the council proposed closing the museum, and then they rolled back from that and they kept the museum open. But there are immense pressures on councils, and they're looking at their asset list, and they announced earlier this year they would quite like to have a community group to take on the museum. But this is a listed building, so it's a challenge to take on a 17th century building that's listed, B listed, part of an E listed setting of Kinneil House. And to take that on, look after a collection that's here, and also get money to make repairs to the building. So the community, I don't feel they can take the building on, but there is certainly people coming forward saying if they wanted people to be volunteers to help run the building, then they would come forward to do that. And also the council's having discussions with Historic Scotland to obviously manage Kinneil House, and saying could they take on the building. So something may happen. What I am telling people is that if you want to visit Kinneil Museum in its current state, visit in 2025. If you're listening to this later on, it may be that it's operating in a different way, or not operating at all. We just don't know. And so it's a worry, because it's a lovely little museum.
It just gives you the little snapshot of all the things that we saw on our tour around.
We've got architecture interesting in Bo'ness, and right at the heart of the town centre is the Hippodrome. It's the oldest purpose-built cinema in Scotland. It was opened in 1912, the year that they started movie production in Hollywood. And so the Hippodrome is a month younger than Universal Pictures. It hosts a silent film festival each March, which is incredible, as well as showing modern films. And it was restored and reopened in 2009. And the local people picked Mamma Mia to open the cinema. So a bit of ABBA to get the cinema moving.
Well, thank you very much. I really enjoyed our walk around Kinneil. Has actually been a lot of discovery, and I found things that I didn't know about, and it's been fascinating.
Good. And I think if people are coming to Bo'ness, as I say, I'm involved in a group called Bonet, and if you visit the Bonet website, which is bonet.org.uk, there's information about Bo'ness, about Romans, and there's also links to Friends of Kinneil and lots of other things. So if people are interested and want to know a bit more before they visit, they can come and check us out online, and hopefully then pay us a visit in real life.
Walking around Kinneil with Adrian was really interesting, seeing things I have to say I didn't know were there. And I definitely recommend it as a bit of a day out, and I'll keep an eye on the future of the museum, because that is a great little place. And as always, thank you for listening to Edinburgh Outdoors. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please go online and rate it, and don't forget to tell others about it too. And if you know of a green space in or around Edinburgh that might like to be featured, please get in touch.